What's up, what's up, what's up? Just 3 for JP in the house. Okay, this is part 2 of, I don't even know the name of the title, I forgot. But anyway, yeah, I had got a little comfortable and stuff, and it was really interesting because that lady, she actually told me, gave me some ideas. She was like saying how in Japan, when all the kids go up to a different level to raise the price, and I didn't do that. But later I understood. Well, no, I didn't understand it later, but I already knew it, but I just didn't apply it. Was that in Japan at that time, people put more value or pride or, I can say roots and things that are expensive. And I'm not saying, they're expensive and cheap, you know what I'm saying, low quality, but still that was a very big factor. And at that time, depending on where you lived anyway, people had money, so they'd spend it. And then plus, I'm sure a lot of these women, they always keep receipts for everything they do. So I guess if they did have businesses and stuff like that, then they would have they would be able to deduct a lot of stuff. Because actually, a lot of these women out here, a lot of guys don't know, but a lot of these women are smart. A lot of them went to college and stuff like that. Maybe they end up dating some guy who's a salary man, and he may have a degree and everything, and they just get put in a position where, they're housewives and stuff. But a lot of them with money, they're good. Not all, but a lot of them are. And a lot of them are very intelligent. But, it's like when you're at home in the States with your girl, how many of you women, not you women, yeah. How many of you women you guys actually sit around and have an intellectual conversation that's based on making money, based on something positive instead of something negative? Because most people, when they have these deep conversations, it's always about something negative and not really necessarily anything positive. Now, why is that? I don't know. I can only surmise and say that it's just people's feelings, because when you talk about something negative, you can always assume, and each assumption can feel like, it's a real possibility, and it is. But when you're talking about something positive, saying like, well, I'm going to college, I'm going to study, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and then it's actually talking about real life labors and struggles and, actions that you have to do. And a lot of people just don't, I wouldn't say don't do it, but a lot of people, when they think about stuff like that, it's just, they're like, oh, nah, I don't want to do this, so that's a really big issue, out here between relationships and stuff like that. But a lot of these women are smart, so when it comes to buying things, they'll spend a lot of money. I'm sure they're writing a lot of this stuff off on taxes and stuff like that, or somehow I know they're doing that, or some way like that, because it is, I don't know their tax laws, but I'm sure they do, because a lot of these women, they're already into economics and things like that. So it's really interesting. But like I said, I got really comfortable and things like that. I started meeting a lot of women who were from rich families. A couple of them, from really rich families. One of my students' mom, her father and mom got money, and she was always asking me, to go to Tokyo with her and stuff like that. And I didn't go. I should have went. Her English was really good, but I was just thinking like, I wasn't sure of her intentions. And plus, when you're dealing with certain people, especially in certain areas of Japan and stuff, because I really feel they're still in their their culture as in before, as far as respect and who's who and what's what and stuff. And I don't know who's who and what's what, and I never really tried to get into that here in Wakayama, so I was a little apprehensive and stuff. If I would have had time, I guess I would have went, but when you don't know people's intentions, and I didn't ask because I didn't really want to know, that it's it's really hard. But like with her and a lot of the mothers, they were really cool, cool with me. The classes were going good and things like that, but I did get comfortable in some situations. And I remember once, like, I had bought a shirt, a Ralph Lauren shirt, and it was light blue, and you know, one where you can wear a tie with and stuff like that, dress shirt, a business shirt or something like that. And this one kid joined, I don't know how old he was, I think he was about maybe in the 5th or 6th grade, and he was just, you know, very active and stuff like that. And when I'm saying very active, it's not always in a positive manner. You know, I guess kids do challenge and push boundaries and stuff. And so I was writing something on the board, and he would just go up there and erase it. I was like, wow, you know, I wonder what kind of kid this is at home, you know. And then he took the marker and just wrote on my shirt, you know. And I was like, wow, because I had just got finished, you know, I just actually bought it. And so I told his mother, you know, and I wasn't really happy about it, but I didn't yell at her or anything. But, you know, I told his mother, and next week they didn't come back, you know. And I was, but, you know, at the same time, something said, just don't say anything about it, you know, because you're gonna get some money. You're gonna get money from them, so you can always buy, you know, save, you know, $5 here and there and whatever, and, you know, they'll buy it right back, you know. But instead of listening, you know, I said something, and they quit and stuff like that, and it was just really interesting. Another bad thing I used to do was I would have a class and I would just cancel. And the reason I canceled was because I actually didn't work 4 days a week. I only worked 3 days. So I mean, not 4 days. I didn't work 4 weeks a month. I only worked 3 weeks a month, because I used to have 4 classes. I mean, 4 weeks. It was 4 classes for 45 minutes. But when the students came, by the time they, you know, prepared and we got ready to start to, you know, really get into the lesson, 10 to 15 minutes went by. And it wasn't because I wasn't prepared. It was just, you know, for them to come in and, you know, get their little talking and stuff, and get them, you know, quiet enough so I can, you know, so that they can pay attention and stuff like that. Some kids, I had to check their homework and, you know, different things like that. So what I thought about was saying, I just said, hey, you know, if I just take one of these classes, these 45-minute classes, divide it up in 15 minutes, add them onto the other ones, then I can just work 3 weeks out of a week, and, you know, an hour each class. And the hour actually did benefit a lot of the kids, and also gave me 1 week, or if we have 5 weeks in that month, 2 weeks off. So I had changed. And also what I did was, if a student was absent, I would just charge them half the price instead of having them pay the whole price and stuff, you know. So that was pretty good too. But actually, I lost a lot of money because a lot of the kids didn't come back and take those classes and stuff like that. So with my new students, I'm not going to do that from today on, you know. And I mean, from this year on and stuff. So I'll stop doing that so I can get the money and stuff, and hopefully they'll come back. But those students, you know, they can come back anytime. I told their parents it doesn't matter whatever age, you know, as long as I'm alive and able to teach, you know, it's no problem. And yeah, so I would, someone would come to Japan or something like that would happen. So I would just call the parents and say, hey, you know, today I'm off, please come the next week or the 4th week. And the parents like, okay, you know, and they're really cool with it. I didn't have any issues about it. I did have one lady who would take my phone calls. She would not ever come to class except to get her pay. And we hardly ever talked. I mean, we would talk when, you know, have customers and stuff like that. Sometimes I'd take out to lunch and we just, you know, talk about business stuff and things like that. But other than that, we hardly ever met. And you know, I was paying her like up to $500 a month, you know, based on how many students, you know. So all she did was just carry the phone, just answered, never came in, never spent. I mean, she hardly even came into class, you know. When she come, we used to stand outside and talk for about like 3 to 5 minutes, and that was it. Give her money, and bam, she's gone, you know. And when we communicate, it was always by mail. It wasn't, you know, we hardly ever spoke unless it was just something, you know, very, very important. But it was kind of difficult for me to understand a lot of things she was saying. So it was actually easier for her to email me in Japanese, because I understood it more than if she were to say it and stuff. Not all the time, but, you know, it was still convenient. And so I would just cancel a lot, change, you know, different things. Sometimes I would have a class like this one student, I mean, I couldn't believe it. She would come to class and I would just get so complacent about something. I have no idea, but she would come to class and I just wouldn't be there. You know, the shutters closed and her mom would come and I'm like, huh. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, and this would happen, you know, constantly, you know, and, you know, so her mother, one time she wasn't there and I called and I got there like 10 minutes late and then opened it up. Her mom said, oh, you must have told me that you were off and I forgot. And I said, no, I'm sorry, that was me. You know, but every time I make mistakes, I always give discounts. You know, if I come 5 minutes late, they'll get like a $5 discount. If I come like 15 minutes late, you know, I teach half the class. They pay just half the price. I still teach for an hour. I would give gifts and stuff. And I could never understand, you know, why was I so, you know, my professionalism was just shit. I mean, it was bad, you know, and I just couldn't understand it. I mean, there's other things, like sometimes, a couple of times, when I don't have class, you know, you should stay there, right? But when I don't have a class, I'll shut down and leave. And one time I was closing the class, and one student came and said, oh, what's going on? You canceled the class? I'm like, oh, wow, and I forgot, you know, and I'm like, no, I'm sorry. You know, so I will open it back up, and, you know, it was just weird. It was just so weird. I just couldn't, I never really placed it. And I guess it would be that I'm just stupid. You know what I'm saying? Just fucking stupid. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I was thinking like, it got to be something else. Now, maybe it could have been, I don't know, I don't know what it was. When I left the United States, the continental United States, and went to Hawaii, it was like I was freed I'm free from the pressures of being guided. In other words, how could I say? When there are holidays, the television lets you know. When something happened, the television will let you know. You know, they're always saying advice on TV, how to work, how to sleep, how to do this, how to do that. You know, and they might have it here in Japan too. I'm sure they do. But when I left and went to Hawaii, I hardly ever watched television. You know, I actually hardly even, I don't know how, I probably rarely watch television. So that information stopped coming. I would forget dates, my birthday, my mom's birthday, my brother's birthday. And it got really bad, you know. And then when I came to Japan, it was just worse because I would just forget about the time. You know, and it wasn't that I wouldn't forget, I just didn't have any concern for it at all. So I guess when I started working and things like that, you know, especially on my own, I don't know, it was just weird. It was just really weird. And it could have been maybe the success that messed me up or whatever, because when I first opened, I had, I think I opened in April. I guess it was my birthday month. And the first month I made enough money to pay the rent and had profit and never looked back, you know. And actually my business only stopped when I stopped, well, not when I stopped, but when my wife had canceled her advertising with this one company for whatever reason. And I told her not to touch mine, but she told them, and they connected both of our accounts together, which when she canceled, they canceled mine. Instead of me just calling them with something told me, just call them and tell them to put your ass back up. I did, and I just got so distraught about it that's actually when my business stopped growing, because I was actually getting a lot of students every month, you know. And the way I taught and everything was just spreading around where kids would come from far away, and my business, not my business, but my work that I was doing in Osaka, it would, how can I say it? They had this one kid, he was lived in Osaka, and he moved close to Kyoto area. I guess it could have been Kyoto. What is it? Hirakata, at the Hirakata. And he was only 7 years old, or 5 years old, or 6 years old, or something like that. and he would come all the way to class by train by himself. You know, and that just talks about the security, the safety that, you know, a lot of these young kids do have, you know, at a way larger percentage than a lot of our kids at that age. You know, definitely would be a no-no in the States. But well, I wouldn't even say that. I guess it depends on where you living at and stuff like that. But he would come from far away. I think it was this area over here. No, it was even further. One lady would come to my class and bring her child, you know, and it was like almost near the, I think it was past the Kaizuka, which is past the airport, which would be about a good, at that time would be about a good hour drive almost, 45-minute drive maybe, to my class. So my lesson and stuff was good. Now my lesson is very good, but it was just my work, what is that thing called? My overall work performance, as far as being in a management situation, was horrible. I mean, it was horrible. I remember I got some crazy stories. I can't even tell y'all this. I got some stories I want to tell once I start my Patreon and stuff, but I'm not going to put it on here though. But it was just some weird things that I did, and I just couldn't understand. It was like one time, it was this one student I had. His mom, she was real cool and everything, and I think maybe, I don't know why no one actually really got upset. No one really said anything. I did compensate monetarily for a lot of the mistakes I made. Some kids were, you know, like the girl when she came, and her mom said, hey, you know, are you closed today, you know? And I was like, oh no, I'm sorry. You know, I gave her free lessons and stuff like that, you know, and giving the money back. And so, you know, I was doing that, which it shouldn't have never, I mean, actually there was no excuse for it, but, you know, those things happen. But, you know, no one really did get upset. Actually, that kid and her father were, I mean, her father's real close. I mean, he would talk, but my Japanese was really bad. And I'm sure it was a lot me and him could have talked about. I don't know what his job was. I know he worked out in Osaka. But had my Japanese been better, and I'm not saying I don't have a chance, I still have a chance. I could have hooked up with a lot of people, you know, in different cities, and had I been more business-like instead of just trying to be a teacher. Because, like, actually my lesson I have is awesome. I mean, like I said, I could go to the States, and I can, with my lesson, I can have kids in the States who are 3 years old speaking English. A lot of those foreign kids out there, I can have them speaking English and, you know, I mean, reading English, you know, for 3 years old, maybe in 8 months, they can start actually reading English. Of course, I would need someone there to how can I say, to help, because they would, you know, the lesson works, but whoever the teacher is have to be a native speaker of the, they have to be at least bilingual, speak English and a native language of whatever that student is. I mean, whatever language that student speaks. So, but it's an awesome lesson for kids already speaking English, you know, from 3 years old. In 8 months, probably won't even take that long, but because they're already speaking English, that they can start reading, because it's really powerful. So now, but you know, like I said, I always wanted to teach it, you know, so I never really shared it. You know, I told people about it, but of course no one believed me. But I don't know, it was just weird. So I was really deep into teaching, but because it got just so easy and these kids' levels got so high, and, you know, I mean, and they would progress so fast that some of the parents would just freak out. And one lady, she just freaked out when she came into class, and her 5-year-old kid was just reading like crazy, and she quit, you know, dropped the class. So anyway, I don't know, it's just weird. I mean, I have a lot of other stories and stuff to talk about. I'm trying to think of anything. I remember once I would be on my way home from what was that called? From Osaka. And somebody will call me and say, hey, what you doing? I'm like, nothing. I'm on my way back to Osaka. I mean, to Wakayama to work. And I had to help me get back because I had like a 5 o'clock class. And they said, well, hey, you know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You want to join? I'm thinking like, okay, you know. So then I would call, and this one mother, and they were real cool. No one ever got upset. No one ever quit because of what I did. Nothing like that. You know, the kids came. And I think, if anything that happened, there was another economical burst that happened. And some parents, you know, they just quit because at that time, some people were getting divorced. One mother, you know, she was just talking to this other lady I know and was saying how she really couldn't afford the lessons and stuff, you know. And I told the lady, well, you know, the lady that told me that, I said, well, all that she had to do is just, you know, reduce the classes or just stop coming, you know, because I'd rather, you know, they have that money in their pocket than in mine. And so the lady went and told the lady, and the lady didn't come back, you know, because at that time, you know, they were, I mean, in Japan, there are a lot of people out here, not all, but there are a lot of people out here who are sincere. So when they make a contract, even though if they want to quit, some of them, it's kind of difficult for them to quit for whatever personal moral reasons or whatever, you know, or ethics or whatever, I'm not sure. But you know, I was like, listen, if you can't afford it, don't come, you know, and or just reduce the time and stuff. But I don't know, it was just really interesting and stuff, you know. So anyway, my friend called, so I called this lady, you know, and the mother, and I said, hey, you know, I got a meeting, which it was a meeting, it wasn't an important one, but you know, to the fact that I had to cancel the class, but you know, I canceled it and I said, I'm sorry, I'll give you a discount and please you can come back next week, you know. So she was like, okay. And this student was actually, I think I said in my video, she was the first student to ever learn to read in Wakayama, I think. No, in the nursery school that I taught. And so it was that student. And her mom was like, okay. And I would do this, you know, not to all the students, but to a lot of them, I would just cancel the whole day, you know, and sometimes it would be suddenly, you know, or this one mother, gosh, I felt so bad. She was, she actually looked like one of my ex-girlfriends and stuff. But she would come to class and she did something that really ticked me off. I couldn't believe it, you know. I was like, wow, I couldn't believe she did that. I ain't gonna say it on here because that's not the point, but that's not the topic. But anyway, she would come to class. She had 2 students, but one of them went to junior high school, so that student quit. But she had a younger son, and he was always coming. And I guess a lot of the parents, you know, they don't really view their kids as being really smart and stuff, you know, based on, you know, how they act at home, don't want to do the homework. But I said, you know, my English class is so easy that, you know, if they're just paying attention 30% of the time, you know, they'll do, you know, actually very well, you know. And I would come and, you know, I was always on time. Then, you know, all of a sudden I just started being lazy, I guess, and ignorant and stupid and inconsiderate and unprofessional and and whatever, you know. And I would be at home sleeping. I get a phone call and I wake up and she said, are you coming? I'm like, huh? Oh my God. You know, cause like I said, the biggest thing was I just totally forgot about the days and the times. And I'm like, okay, I'll be right there. You know, it take me about 15 minutes to get there. And I would, of course, you know, have her just pay half the class, or well, I always got some money. Sometimes or you know, hey, come this day too and get a free lesson, or something like that. I forget, you know. Or no. Sometimes I would just give a lesson free too. That's what I would do. I did that a lot. And she was like, and I wouldn't even. And another stupid thing about it was I wouldn't make up, you know, because I really don't like to lie. You know, so I wouldn't make up a story. I would tell the truth. I said, I'm sorry, you know, I just totally forgot about the time, the date, and I was in bed sleeping, you know, because I slept a lot for some reason. And she just laughed like, it's okay. And it got to the point where it was just often, and she'll call me, she's like, "Are you sleeping?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Come to class, hurry. You know, and it was just like that. And I was like, wow. But I expected her to quit, and for some reason she just never did. But, you know, she knew the level of her daughter, because her daughter excelled really fast in the class that she was in with these other 4 girls and stuff, you know. And I guess she was just surprised, because I don't know how, because he was really quiet, but, you know, like I said, the class was really easy, so he excelled. And it would just get to the point where it was just ridiculous. And she would say, "Hey, you know, I'm coming next week. Don't forget. Should I call you, you know, an hour early?" I mean, it actually got to that point, you know, with her. And so she would call me, and I mean, it was constant. I mean, at least once every month. And she was like, "Why do you sleep, you know, so much? And why do you do this? And why can't you just wake up and just do things professional?" I'm like, I just don't know. And I think what it is in Japan, like when I said in my other videos, it's just that you don't have that pressure, you know, of being coached what to do. I mean, freedom. I mean, it's like total freedom out here. You know, no one, I mean, as far as me, I was concerned, a lot of these foreigners, no one pushed you to do anything. You know, had a TV to push you. I mean, yeah, of course they push it, Japanese people, or those who can, you know, watch TV and listen to it and stuff like that. But if you don't watch TV and stuff, it's like you're back in the caveman days, and you gotta actually, you know, write down schedules and stuff. And now I understand why a lot of people use their schedule books. These girls are just writing down everything, you know, because it really is hard to keep up with things, and you can actually forget, you know. And so she kept on coming for a long time, and then when her son, I guess he started doing high school or something, he couldn't come. So she was like, "Well, when I have time, can I come?" I'm like, "Okay, you know, no problem." You know, and that kept going on for a while until, you know, she just didn't need the class. Well, she didn't have time for the class, but I kept telling her, "Your son, he can take one word and make pretty much whatever sentence he wants with it, you know, because he can read, and he knows how to use a dictionary. And even if he used a Japanese dictionary and they got it in Japanese pronunciation, you know, I told him how to change it to English, you know, which is really simple, to the English pronunciation." And I was just telling her, you know, you just wasted money. You know, the only next thing to do would be to start teaching him subjects, math or sciences, or you know, architectural stuff or skills and stuff like that, all in English and stuff like that. But I didn't have a lot. I mean, I could teach basic math, and maybe I could teach them some algebra, trig, and some calculus and stuff like that. But, you know, their schools are good at teaching that stuff also. So I don't know, but it was just weird. So she quit. The one lady that I, like I said, I was on the freeway. I would call her quite a bit. Or if I'm late, because I had a class in Osaka also, because I work in Osaka and then drive home, and sometimes I would be late because of the highway, you know, because it's just too crowded. So I just told her I'm sorry, and she was like, okay, and I'll just cancel and everything. And she was cool, the father was cool, you know, even though I was like tardy a lot, and you know, I was just really unprofessional. And they quit, you know, when their daughter got to the point where she just didn't need English anymore, because her and her friends would study together. She did refer people to me. Her English was really good, you know, so she just didn't need it anymore. And they came, gave the presents, whatever, you know. It was a plant, actually, a cactus plant, aloe vera cactus plant or whatever. And I mean, you know, cactus plant, I don't know why you say aloe vera. But and that was it, you know, no complaints or nothing. Their daughter was like studying English like crazy, you know, and I just never had any complaints. One lady, she would, I don't know, she got really attached to me, and she would always come, you know, sit in the class a lot. I mean, you know, as much as she could, and sometimes I would be late, and she would like, "Oh, it's okay," or like if she wanted to go do something, or she wanted me to go see something, or take her somewhere with me or whatever. If I'm like, "Well, I got class," she said, "Well, just cancel." just go do this, you know. I'm like, all right, you know, that was her class, so it didn't matter, but she still paid and stuff. It was just weird, you know. But I'm sure had I been way more professional when the kids do things instead of complaining to the parents, you know, had I just, you know, just took care of the situation myself. That's why I don't dress nice anymore, you know, after the kid wrote on it. He wasn't even the first one, and after that, you know, when kids did write on my clothes, I was just like, I wouldn't even say anything. But then I just kind of started like not dressing real nice and anything, or nice or anything like that. But not saying that my clothes was of low quality, because most of the time I wore Ralph Lauren clothes, because at that Ralph Lauren or Eddie Bauer, because I was kind of big, or fat I should say, and those were the only clothes that came in my size, you know, American sizes. And it was just really interesting, you know, how, you know, things worked out, you know. One lady, she used to come and I was doing something in class. I forgot what I was doing. And as soon as I finished, she came in, and I was shocked that the door opened, because I totally forgot she was coming, you know, because I never really I kept a schedule and stuff. I never really looked at it. I was trying to be professional at first, but the parents were not professional, you know, and they didn't care, you know. It was like, I guess, you know, how a lot of people out here would turn that and say, well, because I'm black or because I'm foreigner, they never really respected my professionalism and stuff like that. So I guess it would be one of those things. But it got to the point where I just started becoming so unprofessional, but they still didn't care, you know. And even though, and I could have said, well, the reason I became unprofessional is because they didn't care. No, I was just stupid, you know. And it was just really bad. Let me think of some other stuff I did. Let me think. I don't know. What did I do? Oh, so like one day, I think I told this before. I said this before, but I was in Osaka and I was teaching, and this was before I created my lesson I have now. And I was talking about A and N. And the mother, one of the mothers, she's, because, you know, when you go into class, it's always a leader and stuff. And she's a self-proclaimed leader of the class. And what happened, I said the A and N thing, A and A. And so I said, yeah, it's A is better to use than in America anyway. I mean, we do use it, but to make things more clear and things like that, it's better to use A. And then she got mad, no, it's not A, it's there's no A, and just going off on me for like 20 minutes. So I listened, you know. And then after that, what did I do? Wow. Shock. And then after that, I guess a lot of the parents, they believed her, because that's what they're all taught, that A is and an is on. No one ever says an. So I brought a dictionary the other week, and my unprofessionalism jumped in. I said, hey, this is your this is what it is. And I showed her use a Japanese and English dictionary, you know, with a Japanese author and editor and stuff, so they would believe it. And I showed her the truth. And then after that, I said, you know, you have a really bad attitude, and I'm going to quit this class. And the other parents are like really shocked, like, whoa, because their kids, even though it wasn't my lesson at the time, with the way I taught, you know, their kids were really excelling and stuff. And so I was like, forget it, I'm going to quit. And then, you know, I told the lady I was working for, and she begged me not to. And so I told her, well, she needed to talk to that lady. And then I told her just to get a white guy, blue hair, blonde hair, white dude, to go into class, because I think, you know, that's what she wanted, you know, because I guess she was always challenging me, you know. She was younger than I was too, you know, and I was like, whatever. So anyway, the class kept going and stuff, and then when she changed to a different location, a lot of those kids quit, you know. And it was funny, because even though she was the one that was causing you know, problems in the class sometimes, she didn't quit. You know, and I was just like, wow, you know, it was just really interesting, though. But the unprofessionalism was when I was telling her that in front of all the parents. I did hold back, but it was like a lot of things I didn't hold back, you know, and I was just saying, you know, you know, the way you talk to me, I don't like that, and this and that, and blah, 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 you know. And actually, you know, I think it must be the island, because it's an island. People really can't travel as much as they could if they were on a, you know, a continent and something like that. But a lot of the parents, when me and her was going through that, they would just sit there and listen, and no one wouldn't say anything. And I think one of the parents, though, after one of the classes, she was so beautiful, guys. She just said to me, she said, listen, you know, you have a lot of Japanese women out here who just are like that, you know, and so don't let her get to you, you know, or don't let them get to you. Just do what you're doing. She said, you got a great lesson. All the parents appreciate after class. We always talk about, you know, your professionalism, how you really are, you know, really, you know, focus on the kids and what they're doing and stuff like that. So don't worry about, you know, those parents and stuff, you know. So I was like, okay. So that was real cool. But yeah, I shouldn't have I didn't go off or yell at her, you know. I had a regular voice and everything, but it was just, you know, what I said and stuff. Well, I wouldn't really say anything. I just, you know, in Japan, it's like, even though the customer is right, you just hi, you know. But I was like, no, forget that, you know. And, you know, I just pushed her back out of my personal space, you know. So it was interesting. But yeah, it was really bad, you know. And let me think. Yeah, I mean, it was really tough. So I can't think of any other stories that I want to. I mean, I got a lot of stories, but I don't want to share them on here. Some of the stuff I just keep it to myself. Wow, that girl is in a bug. It's a left-hand drive. You know, I love driving in Japan. But anyway, I guess that's it. If I could think of anything else, then I'll let you know. But yeah, my professionalism and out here as far as doing work, teaching and stuff, you know, I made a lot of money, but paid my taxes and everything, but I just was horrible, you know. It was really horrible. And had I been more professional and you know, did take the advice that a lot of parents gave me, I would have been able to expand. But I just wasn't thinking like that, you know, and I don't know why. And my wife at that time, her business wasn't as booming as it is now, you know. Actually, I was probably making more money than she was per, like the staff she have, the work that they did, and what I did, I was making way more money and stuff. So it was interesting. I'll say it was very interesting. I was going to shoot for like $100,000, because I think the most I ever made was $72,000, I think, in a year. So it was I'm sorry, I kind of put the phone on my what you call it, the phone on my close to my mouth and stuff. But I wonder how old that lady is next to me. Anyway, well, the lady in this car, of course, she got a rose in there. But anyway, it's interesting. But I guess that's it. So anyway, if you guys like these videos, because I do want to become a partner again, I do need subs, I do need, you know, some viewing times. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Actually, you know, I ain't even gonna do that. You guys will do it. Do whatever you want, you know, because I never really asked people to do that. I guess it would be good to do though. But yeah, I would appreciate it if you subscribed and like my channels. I do respond to all comments that I am notified of. If I'm not notified of them, then I can't respond. I have a lot of videos, so I can't actually go through them all. If you want to talk to me and stuff like that, that's cool. Contact me. I usually talk to a lot of people that I do. I am going to do Patreon, and I got to go do something right now, so I want to make a video about that, get some advice, and see what you guys want to do. I mean, you know, how you guys want me to go about doing this. It's really cool for you guys out there, and for the women too, and or for anyone, you know. But you know, like I said, what I want to do is kind of like, it's cool, but at the same time, you know, it might, I don't know. But anyway, I gotta go. You guys enjoy. Have a fun day. Peace.